Don't you forget you're special. Don't you forget you're special.
We were all born different, even those that look alike. Even twins have differences and can be identified.
Welcome to the Abel's Show. My name is Elon Carter, and I'm here today with my beautiful co-hosts.
I'm Kendra Shoemaker.
Lorinda Morales.
Astrid Gamino.
And DJ X-Ray. We have an amazing guest today. We have Sterling Sulieman is coming up from Hawaii. He's going to be our guest. Stay tuned.
All you gotta do is just know that you're special. Come on.
Life will always test you, turn you to the best you. Don't know what you've been through, but I hope you get through. I can be a friend who is someone you can vent to when it feels this world's against you. She got you going.
Welcome, Sterling.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Oh, we're so happy to have you. You're so handsome. I love your outfit. You got eye candy today, girls.
The vibe. Look at this. Aloha vibe.
So you're from Hawaii,
Yes.
and you've done so many shows. So how did you leave Hawaii to come to LA? Because I love Hawaii. Everybody that's been from Hawaii, I'm like, oh my God, I love Hawaii. I go there all the time. So yeah, how did you leave Hawaii to aspire to be an actor?
How did I do it?
Yeah. And what made you do it?
Well, it's funny, growing up there, it's like, it's a kind of a small community of people who are definitely going to try and make the big break for the mainland. And they always talk about it like that. They're like, well, on the mainland, people. Like, it's like this thing where you're like, when I get to LA, everyone's gonna be like better. So there was always this drive to get to the mainland and do the real thing. And my first stop was I went to UCLA, TFT, did the college theater thing first and got my feet wet that way, like started breaking in, even though, you know, you weren't supposed to.
Had you done theater before that? Did you do theater before that at all?
Yeah, I grew up doing, my sister also does musical theater. She does a lot of Broadway. We grew up doing musical theater and commercials and anything we could get our hands on Oahu.
Like in Island?
Yeah, there wasn't like a huge industry. Like now they have all those shows.
Yeah.
Right.
But this was like before
All
Lost.
the shows.
Yeah, Lost
They
kicked it
shoot
up.
all the time now.
Yeah.
Right before they weren't. It's interesting because we always want to go there. We're like, oh, we're gonna shoot in Hawaii. And it's so funny because, you know, when I was younger and I was modeling, we would always shoot in Hawaii all the time.
yeah.
So, and I had been going there for years, but I was so happy. And you guys are complete opposite. Can we get off the mainland?
Yeah.
You know?
Let's get to it.
You did island fever, and I'm like, how did you guys have island fever? During COVID, I actually moved there for 6 months. I was in Maui.
I mean,
And
in
so-
COVID, they shot a lot out there too.
Yeah, because it was like nothing.
Yeah.
And one of the hotels, we didn't know at the time, they were shooting, what's the show that we love so much? White Lotus. They were shooting White Lotus. And we go there all the time, but we rented a house and we had to get a long-term rental in order to stay on the island because it was COVID, right?
Yeah.
So we would walk down the beach and we're like, it is weird because it was like a ghost town to see the hotels. Like, but we're like, wait a minute, I see a whole crew. They're not supposed to be there, and they were shooting there. And at the Ondas, they were shooting a reality show. And someone got COVID when they were shooting. They got in trouble. They did because it was when it was heightened.
Sneaking out.
But yeah, and then after that, we went back. Like after we left, we went back, and they were still shooting. And we
reality
asked
show?
them, no, they were at the Four Seasons. We kept saying to them, oh, what are you guys shooting? Oh, we're just shooting a reality show. We're like, oh, and we're like, because we're like, some of the extras didn't look like Hawaii people.
Right,
We're
right,
like, "What?" And you don't look like you stay at the Four Seasons. Something's off, right? Everyone, they had like they separated everything. And then a year later, White Lotus came out. I was like, man, White Lotus, seriously?
Like, I could have just snuck in there a little bit.
Yes.
Oh man, that show is so good.
Yes.
Going back to UCLA, I was saying that, like, you said a comment just now and you were like, not everybody does. And you know, coming from acting school and being trained, it's like, we're always like, well, who's gonna make it?
Yeah.
And you've worked so consistently out of college. Like, first of all, how did you do that? Like, what was that pivotal moment? Was
Especially
it
in LA.
agent? Yeah, like.
Yeah, so, yeah, a lot of people quit pretty fast actually after the program, but me and my roommate at the time were like I think I had a parking spot because I had some scholarship. And we had a car. And we were like, okay, let's get these headshots and get it moving. Even they said not to, but we were like, it could take years, so let's do those years while we're in college.
Yeah.
And so when we graduated, we both had agents and things that were starting to move.
Right.
I mean, he booked a series regular as a 22-year-old right out of school.
That's amazing.
That's like unheard of.
Unheard of.
And you don't realize that, right?
yeah.
You come here, especially coming from an island, you're like, oh yeah, I made the
Oh, it's just gonna be
Hollywood
easy.
dream. It's unheard of.
But yeah, so I did some small things, and my first jobs were, I used to dance. So I went on tour as a dancer with High School Musical concert tour.
Oh my God.
And then the next job I had was All My Children, and I moved to New York.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's probably so different than the island. Like,
Yeah, very different.
right?
So as a New York actor, did you do Law and Order, like, rite of passage?
No, I didn't.
You didn't pay a dead guy?
That would have been great.
Get paid dead.
Yeah, exactly.
There is a revival of all of the vampire series coming back into popularity. I wanted to ask you about your time as a vampire on TV. Did you have a favorite series?
Oh, I mean, I did love True Blood as far as the
yeah.
vampire situation goes. Although it got a little wacky at the end. I guess it started wacky, but it
It
got
just starts going
wackier.
weird, right?
Yeah.
The writers ran out of ideas.
Yeah, I don't know. Vampire Diaries, I did
Yes.
the first season, and that was like, I don't know. That was one of my first big, cool,
Yeah.
like.
You've made history. You've
Yeah.
made it into the vampire series of the time. And it's coming back. That was my favorite picture. That
How is
I
it
saw
coming
of
back?
yours.
That's what I want to know.
Oh, the internet is obsessed. Well, it's been like 10, 15 years. So
So it's like,
It's trending.
oh,
The vampire.
yeah.
that makes sense because people brought it up recently, and I've been
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
oh,
yeah.
that's.
Oh no, it's like the rave. Everyone's like, I'm rewatching all the movies and all
Oh
the
wow.
series coming back.
I
Wow.
love that. My one regret from that show is I didn't know I was dying when I died, and so I didn't ask for my teeth, which because they make them to your mouth, so it's like no one else can use them. I could have had these.
Oh, as like a
left the show when
souvenir.
we were gone.
Yeah,
Oh,
I was
okay.
staked in the heart, and I didn't get my teeth.
Oh,
I could be sitting here with fangs right now, yeah.
so
Make a lot of
funny.
money. Sell it on eBay.
Or that.
Yes.
Yeah, that might be the case.
I have a question about you did a lot of TV and switching to film, like you were in Scrambled.
Oh yeah.
I saw that because I wanted to see other written, directed, women, female centered.
Oh,
and
yeah.
what was that like working with Ego Nwodim and like?
That was incredible. So that story is actually like, you never know who's sitting next to you kind of situation. The girl who wrote, directed, starred in that was in acting class with me
Oh,
years before and was doing shorts. And so we were always like involved with her doing that. And she was like, I'm making this movie. And someone dropped out last minute. So then I snuck in.
Wow.
But it was incredible. She's
great.
an incredible writer, and like watching her do that film was.
yeah, Leah McCrudden.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, that's great. You were open. You weren't like, oh, okay. Because somebody has you in mind, and then you're like,
Yeah.
somebody dropped out, and some people don't even take that to heed. Like, hey, look, this is an opportunity. It's
Yeah.
like, the story of when they bring you the boat and the plane, and,
Oh,
you know
yeah.
what I mean? And you don't take any of them,
Right.
right?
You're like,
Right?
that was
It's
the
like,
help.
okay, I gave you the help. Take the help, and you took the help. You knew.
Yeah.
Right. We're gonna take a break real quick.
Okay.
But I'm gonna cut you off. We will be right back.
Let it burn, let it burn, let it burn, let it burn on down.
Just gonna stay.
We're back with Sterling, and so we want to hear about the period piece. I mean, as
Yes.
an actor, how does it feel like when you have to go? Because you've been able to like do the Vampire Diaries as a sci-fi, and all more modern type of things. But as a young actor, do you enjoy doing the period piece? And is it challenging?
Yes. I mean, I absolutely loved it. Also, it was like coming off of watching Game of Thrones.
Oh,
right.
so
I'm
you
like,
were ready.
Get me out there. Yeah, that was incredible. And usually it's such a long process to book a show like that.
Right.
But for some reason, this one was like, I think it was like 2 auditions, and it was like, you booked it.
You
Like
literally
no
been
test.
lucky.
No, I was like, what?
Like people don't think like it's luck, and usually that doesn't happen. You have just which
Yeah.
is a blessing.
Yeah,
That's, like nothing, like no slight to that. That's just such a blessing. That
It was wild, and it was a Shonda Rhimes. It was under her umbrella.
Right,
So we
right.
went to go shoot in Spain.
Oh,
and
oh, you just like just come on.
yeah, I was like, what else are you gonna do?
Come on.
What else do you need? And before we were done filming the pilot, they were like, it's picked up. I was like, this is
Where in Spain?
not crazy.
Where in Spain were you shooting?
We shot kind of on the western side, close to Portugal, in a place called Cáceres.
I know what that is. You should have
yeah.
done the take that dance.
Huh?
Take that. Every time you book something like that, go take that. Take that. That's what I'm gonna do.
I mean, that was before TikTok, I think.
Oh yeah, I was doing the take that before TikTok. Anyway.
You know, like I made that dance.
Yeah, I did not, but I copied. You know,
pat.
I'm not gonna say the name who did
Right.
the dance, but you know what I'm talking about. Take that. Just don't fall on the stage.
Right. Yeah.
What, in your opinion, is like different between playing something that's like modern versus like a period piece? Like, do you channel something different with characters like that?
Yeah, you know, in most period pieces, I think there's like there's a lot of restraint that we don't do anymore. There's a lot of like how you're going to be perceived and what you're allowed to do and who you're allowed to talk to, and so it really like even with the clothes, you just feel more restricted. And a lot of the drama is also in those pieces is like, don't say that to so and so. Whereas now people are like, like you would never have the drama last because you didn't say something, but the decorum, I don't know. I feel like the way you even breathe and walk just makes the whole character different. Because you have to know your station or whatever, yeah.
Yeah, because their body language was different.
Yeah,
How they walked and talked, and it's just so different, you know?
yeah. You can just be like, hey, to someone.
Well, you just can't have your pants hanging down.
Yeah,
Yo,
yeah.
What's up?
No,
You know?
yeah.
None of that stuff, right? Right?
Silly question.
Okay.
But I'm wondering if you've thought of this. To like sneak anything from like our current time into a scene and it's like doesn't get picked up by the cameras or staff and then it ends up in the episode. Like, you know, in Game of Thrones, there was accidentally the Starbucks cup.
Which is crazy.
Yeah, it got missed.
Yeah.
It was missed. So you never thought about that?
He's
Like trying to sneak something in?
Yeah.
Like fangs. I'm just kidding.
No, I never thought about that.
Shelf.
I should think about that.
Just
Just sneak something
And just
in.
to see if anyone would find out.
Like just like a
So you did
Air
it.
Bud.
But I'm giving you ideas, maybe.
and then get fired.
Yeah, I mean, well, yeah. I'll make someone else do it.
Yeah.
Oh, this guy.
Right.
And then you're gonna blame me.
Right, yeah.
I want to know about your longevity because, okay, so because you're a kid actor, right? How things were in roles back then and how the opportunity is now.
Ooh.
And also, how did you not let it, like, discourage you if there were less roles or typecast, roles?
Right.
You know what I mean?
I mean, it's definitely been like, even with the Still Star-Crossed show, it's like I never imagined I would do a period piece per se, just because I'm Black in America. Right. And so like, when that opportunity came up, it was very surprising and shocking and magical for those reasons. I mean, the business just keeps changing so much, and you just like put your head down. Because there's definitely been like situations with a bunch of my friends where it's like very clear when they do or don't want you.
Right.
And there was that moment of like, oh, they're
in a different direction.
going in a different direction. Yeah.
You know, it's like, okay, you didn't want me today.
Right.
you know
Like,
when
I
you
can
walk
see
in
the,
the room,
direction
right?
you're going.
Oh
Yeah.
or you're not Black enough.
Yeah.
So many times that gets,
Not
hurt.
Black enough.
You're not Black enough. And I could see you fitting in that in between genre. My son is an actor, and he's very similar type. He's back there, and he said that one of the jobs he wanted was with Taraji Henson.
Oh.
And he got a third call back, and he said he went into the room, and everybody in the room is white, and they looked at him and said, "Can you sound more Black?" And he was about 15 at the time, but he was really upset. He came out, and he goes, "They said I didn't act Black enough, and nobody was Black in the room." And I was like, okay. And I had to explain to him, this is going to happen to you because you kind of have the in-between look, right? Not the look they typically go for as a Black man. Right, you have that. You could be other, but they wanted him to be like, yo, what's up? And he was in private school.
And it's also hard because like sometimes you go out for a
can do
role
it.
and it's like, you don't want to lean into that if that's not your type sometimes.
Right,
It's like
right.
if you want someone who feels more like they grew up in the street, like that person's gonna come in.
Yeah.
So I shouldn't try and do that more than
Right.
like I can't pretend to be taller.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And if you have 3 callbacks, there was something about you that they liked.
Right.
So then why do you all of a sudden decide, oh, okay, but I'm just saying, I know, like Bridgerton really opened up the doors. But if you go back in the history
Yeah.
and you look, there were like black royal people back then.
Yeah.
It's just that they don't acknowledge it.
Yeah.
So now it's starting to come out. So those doors are opening and seeing like, okay, you know what, we did have that. Let's just start doing it. Because they got a
Yeah.
lot of backlash when it first came out.
Yeah.
Especially as him as the lead actor. Oh, it's not believable, this and that. And
Then
he
you,
kind of
you just go to the museum and you see it in the portraits.
Right.
You're like, look at all
right.
these.
You go to museums in Europe and you see it. Everybody was dark. Like
Yeah.
they're British royals.
Yeah.
Original were dark people.
Yeah.
But
And some
it's-
like Roman emperors and like, yeah.
It's just
all
starting
over
to
the
come
place.
out.
This is real history.
And the
Yeah.
gladiators.
Yeah.
The gladiators too. The gladiators,
Yeah.
they were black. And some of the, like the most important Romans were black.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why the doors are opening. So yeah, just
People
take
are
it.
uncovering the history.
Right.
And I think
Yeah.
it's more about like also who you're getting behind the table and behind the scenes.
Well, we're going to take a break. We will be right back on the East.
She got me up all night, yeah. Down and out with these love songs. She got me open all night, got me open all night, hey.
Welcome back with Sterling.
I did have a question for you.
Oh.
You talked about moving from Hawaii to mainland and how there's sort of this like, people talk about it and they don't always take the leap.
Yeah.
But you were brave enough and followed your heart to come and do all that. Was there any time in the journey where you were like, what did I do? Like maybe discouraged, or was it always something that you were like, no, like I know that this is what I'm supposed to do?
I was always pretty sure. That's like something I'm grateful for. Like as a young kid, I was like, I'm going to be an actor. Whereas like some people have to kind of discover it later because it's kind of a weird thing.
Yeah.
But like my sister and I were like, that's what we're doing. And our parents were very much like, go do it then. You can always go back to school if you need to.
That's amazing.
I bet they wish we had now because we're both still doing it. But yeah, no, we just made the move. And a lot of people did, like a lot of people from home did Broadway and did some of these like reality dance shows, and there's a lot of success. So it's like, it's definitely worth taking the leap, I think, for anyone.
Speaking of taking the leap, I want to hear about the leap from being a long-term actor and then just being like, I'm gonna write something.
Oh yeah.
Okay, like, did it feel risky also as a?
Well, so I'd always wanted to be writing, and I finally found a writing partner. We wrote some stuff, and then over COVID, we wrote this whole series, kind of for like a podcast for someone. Got into a thing with the producers, and it just died. And so after that, I was like, I'm really tired of always having to get it like a green light from someone else. So I decided to write my own, produce my own, cast all my friends, and I'm in my 3rd season of my audio drama. And it's just like, it's kind of crazy because I don't have to ask anyone for anything. I just make it, I just do
that's
it.
cool.
It's freedom.
Yeah, exactly.
And doing what you love, right?
Yeah.
And you know, the thing is, you have the platforms, you have things, you know, that's accessible.
Yeah.
You know, back 20, 30 years ago, you didn't have
Way
that.
harder.
You had to ask and you had to beg, and then they take your stuff and keep it for themselves, and they alter it a little bit. I mean, it happens so many times. So, you know, the best thing to do is film your own project.
First of all, I didn't even know you could do all that. I didn't know people could do that. So
I mean,
I'm,
I
like,
kind of
shocked right
didn't
now.
either. I was like, I think I can do it. I think I can do it.
What is this, writing for somebody?
I'm like writing and editing, just
Oh,
sitting
I
there
see.
like, but I figured out you could do it, and there's ways you could do it. I really think that's where the business is headed.
Yes.
It's so much easier to make your own stuff that it's like, you should be.
Right.
Before people, you get to tell other people what you want to do versus them say that you don't fit what they think.
And the stuff is more interesting. You know, people that are streaming, you find like some of the movies, they're on Tubi, and I'm like, well, that's a Tubi movie.
Yeah.
But then I'll sit there and I'll, well, maybe, and then they end up being good storylines. Whether production's great or not, it's like, oh, that creative person did something really cool that I was interested in. Instead of seeing the same thing over and over and over, because if you watch mainstream TV, they really just keep recycling and not letting new people come in who are creative to get something refreshing and new.
Yeah.
Right? So now we have those opportunities,
And people are really interested in like new stories.
Yes.
They just are.
Yeah. And everyone writes from personal experience. You take your personal experience and everyone has a new story of their own personal experience,
And that's why we need a variety of people in the writers' room.
So are you gonna write your next dream role?
I guess so. Yeah. I often write for other people, but I've never written for myself, which is weird.
Really?
What?
Like,
You have to write for yourself.
yeah, I just throw myself in there somewhere.
It's, you know what? It's just trying to be. I'm a writer, and I start writing stuff, and I started writing this book like 20 years ago, and I have the script. And my mother told me the disciples are going to finish the book, and I have like 100 pages, but I haven't finished it. She's like, can you finish it? You just haven't touched it. I'm like, I know. She goes, you can actually just talk it in the computer now.
That's true.
But if somebody has a project, they'll call me and go, you want to do this? I was like, yeah, okay. And I'll like put my tidbits in it.
Like, yeah.
Right? They're like, oh, I'll do it next week.
I'll do that later, yeah.
No excuse for that. That is my goal this year. I'm going to set some goals to do what I have.
Finish things, yeah.
Mr. Sulieman,
Yes.
is there a kind of scene that you would never do? For me, it would be no war. I don't like violence. What is it for you?
Gosh, I mean, I wouldn't really want to do, I think it's certain types of violence.
Okay.
Like, I don't know how people do any like stuff or things with kids
Yes.
or like,
Oh.
I think some people have had to play like, Nazis or whatever. I feel like that's hard.
Yeah.
I think when I was first starting out, I had my reel done by someone and he had quit the business because he was like, I look like a Nazi and they only let me play Nazis. And I'm like a fun, nice guy and I don't want to do this anymore.
Right,
And I was
right.
like,
It's 'cause you get
interesting.
typecast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
What about like, when I was coming up, certain jobs, I turned down one particular show that was really popular and the director was really upset with me, and my father's like, I really don't want you to do that. Now you look at it, it was very sexually explicit, but it was David Duchovny's show that he got popular from.
Oh.
Now they look at it totally different, right? So how do you feel about doing love scenes with someone? Because some of the shows now are so explicit, I'm like, gosh,
So graphic.
too graphic for TV.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Yeah.
It's just because it leaves nothing to the imagination, and I'm not a prude by no means. How do you feel about if someone asks you to do something what are your limits of how far you will go?
I have not really been asked to do anything, but I've had the auditions come through, and every time I'm like, oh, I don't want to do this. But like, I kind of like the part, or I kind of like the show, but I didn't become an actor to get naked and do almost.
Right. Yeah.
So I think I just have to be really broke where I'd be like, all right, let's just do it. Yeah. Honestly, I wish I was the kind of person who like wanted to do it. I think there's some people out there who are like,
Why not?
I'm gonna get out there and show everything.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
then, and then as you get older, you don't realize, you're like, you know what? I don't want someone to see me 30 years later if I get married and have children and my kids, There's some things that I've done and I had to tell my kids, I was like, hey, I did Playboy. So I said to my son, as he got older, I was like, okay, listen, I've got to show you. And then the kids at school, without me even saying anything, told him.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm okay with it, right? That was okay with, but there was stuff I turned down.
Yeah.
So, is there stuff that you will turn down? Like Euphoria is very explicit.
Yeah.
For me. Not that I'm going to do anything like that. I just have watched shows like that, and I just go, gosh, it's really, the business is different.
Yeah. I mean, I have the debate every time it comes up.
Yeah.
And some are just like, from the get-go, from the breakdown, they're like, you must be comfortable with this. And I'm like, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
There was one show on Stars I got an audition for, and I looked it up. I went to a site, and I looked up the name of the show to see if scenes came up, and they did. And I was like, exactly.
Right.
I was like, that's how much it's like. It's like,
Yeah.
I was like, I don't
And you
wanna
don't
do
need
it.
to do it because you have the success. And if you don't need to do it, just stay where you are.
There will be other jobs.
Well, can you tell us where to find you, all your media handles?
Yes. At Sterling Sulieman on Instagram. What else do I have? I think the same. I think at Sterling Sulieman on TikTok. I no longer have a X or Twitter.
Okay.
Where can we find
neither.
your 3 seasons?
Oh, yeah.
Instagram.
Anywhere you could.
You have IG?
I have IG, yes. At Sterling Sulieman.
TikTok.
The show is the Trinity Squad. That has an Instagram, and it's also on Spotify and Audible and
That's
Apple
awesome.
iTunes.
That's your podcast.
Yeah, that's the podcast.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. And I'm also doing, my sister and I just started a YouTube channel for kids' bedtime rhymes.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
so cute.
All of our friends were having kids, so we were like, let's do a little.
Yeah. Oh,
Millionaire.
that's
I know.
I love that.
Well, thank you. We
Thank you for having me. Yeah.
enjoyed you. It was such a pleasure, and you actually brought me up to date for all the news shows and
Yeah.
what's going on. Thank you for watching the Able Show, and thank you for Sterling for being here. We appreciate you so much.
Thank you.